What's up, guys? This is going to be a 1v1 on Total War Empire, and I'm going to be playing as the Spanish forces right out here in what looks to be the desert. Perhaps it's Anatolia, I'm not quite sure. But anyways, I'm going to be a raid out, and we're going to be playing against the Ottoman Empire. So I have my nice troops spread out, a mix of light infantry, line infantry, cavalry, and then I also have two kind of experimental units that I brought along with my force. So these experimental units are going to be the Puckle guns. Never really used them before in multiplayer, so I was curious to see how they would perform. But anyways, if we zoom out, you'll notice that I have one here. It's hidden in the forest. I was expecting my opponent to go for a massive right attack. Looks like he's got a huge line. But anyways, Puckle guns, we're going to try and repel that. Then on the left, I'm rolling up with a Puckle gun over here. So that's going to try and hold off the Ottoman push here. I've got a couple of my light dragoons probing up through the front. I was a little worried about my opponent. He has an interesting build, Nizam al-Shadid. A bunch of those light rifles, and then a heavy Janissary Musketeer corps. These guys are actually really strong in melee and in firefights. It's very hard to get these guys off the battlefield, so I'm a little worried about this flank. And he has some Cairo Janissaries, so he's got a pretty solid mix of units here. Israelis. I was going to try and probe him. I wanted to force him to get a couple shots off, but my cavalry went a little bit further. I was hoping to bait him into shooting this rock, which you can actually sometimes do, but I pushed a little too far. That's going to cause me to lose 11 men right there, so definitely not worth it. I'm now going to be rolling up with my Puckle gun, and what I'm hoping is he doesn't quite have the range on me on this front, and so with the Puckle gun, I should be able to just spray his lines here, seize the high ground. If he does try and push out a little bit further to shoot my guys, I have cavalry positioned here. My opponent's going to be going for a massive right, or I guess on his side, left hook. Nizam al-Shadid rifle is going to be pushing up, and he has a bunch of these Delhi horsemen. Very quick, fast, light troops, pretty effective. They do have guns on them as well, although I believe they have to dismount to use them. So they're going to be off charging to the flank. And then he does have General's bodyguard in the back, and this unit over here, which is infinitely annoying, is the Shaternal Camel Gunners. These guys are very quick. They can continuously fire upon you and reform the line. They have scare horses, so pretty hard to go up against. And they also look really goofy. But anyways, here I am. Puckle guns are going to be installed right on this ridge, exactly where I need them. And now we have, this is pretty easy. Field day for my gunners. I say that while they fire off to the against the units on the right, so they're not going to hit anyone there. But they're just warming up the guns. Behind them I'm going to set up some of my troops. There we go. So you can see how kind of wide the spread is on these guys as I start to get some volleys off. Not doing much damage, but it is going down range. A couple guys getting pinged. A couple of the camels you can see going down. So I'm happy to sit here all day and just shoot at these guys. Look at that hill position that I have here. Almost firing little paintballs and pellets at these guys, so slowly sprinkling and hitting them. My opponent's going to have to respond, so he's going to here move up. All I'm going to do in response is slightly pull back behind this ridge and just continue to pepper my opponent. I don't think he quite has the line of sight to shoot me. Over in this position, my opponent charged forward, but my Puckle gun's unleashed on his guys, and I countercharge his Nizam al-Shadid rifles. I have some militia to cover that up, so I punch through his main line. My light dragoons are now free in the rear. These guys are continuing to try and wrap around me, but I'm going to be doing pretty good. However, his line is getting really super close to me, point blank. At least I do get the first couple shots, but the Delhi horsemen are going to be coming in. On this front, he's still trying to ping at my guys. I've lost a couple gunners, but so far all the guns are still up. Going to be going for a nice strike through here. My light dragoons and other combined forces just going to wreck these Janissaries. So his line is starting to crumble. I have my Walloon guards, very excellent troops, although they have these weird crazy looking hats. But as with any guard unit with the platoon firing, that is going to dissipate my foe. So I seem to be winning handedly on this side. Light dragoons continuing to swallow up my opponent's forces. The Cazadores are going to be pushing up in response, and over here losing a couple more gunners but still holding strong. He's going to start trying to push around with his Delhi horsemen, but having this nice concealed position here with some Puckle guns which can shred cavalry That's going to be looking good for me, and I have some line infantry just here to guard my Delhi Horsemen, or sorry, against the Delhi Horsemen, and then I'm pulling back some cuirassiers against his guys in the back just in case. Some light dragoons going to be also defending my rear, so that's going pretty well. And my opponent realized that he was not going to be able to break this threat. He took out half of my unit here, but that's it. In response, you know, he didn't have much left, and he was just losing more than he was biting off for me. So good idea to retreat. And now is going to be a second phase of the battle, which is him going to be kind of doing a fighting retreat, and that's where things start to get a little hairy. Camel Gunner is going to be here kind of baiting me, tempting me to shoot at them, so I'm going to be more than eager to respond with my shots. There they go, riding off into the sunset with the Puckle gun shooting at them. And these are his own stakes, so his guys won't be killed when running through that. He's going to be pulling back, trying to reform with his main army. So here he's going to push up against my guys. He doesn't really want to contend with my main line because I have a lot of, you know, thick numbers of men here, so I should get it pretty hefty volleys. However, he is reforming on my flank here, so this is going to start to force me to curl back up. And this is actually going to be pretty devastating for me. So he's putting a lot of pressure on this one flank, concentrating on my skirmish units, which is smart. He knows that if he can take out my skirmishers, then he can skirmish me to death. So this will be a matter of who ends up with what unit balance at the end. But at the same time, he's taking some pretty heavy punishment, so I should be able to do well. And then my Puckle guns here continuing to help suppress with the balloon guards as well. And the rear is covered. Light dragoons and light infantry are going to be trying to push back those Delhi horsemen. Like I said, I've never really seen Puckle guns do too much when it came to multiplayer, but they are definitely interesting units. I don't think they're overpowered, although there is a little bit of a glitch where when you start, holy crap, when you start firing at opponents and they get out of range, the Puckle gun stays locked onto them and it can keep pinging them when they're out of range. I don't know if that's a glitch that's exploited often, but it could be troublesome. Anyways, my opponent's going to be looking to do some damage to me here. He's going to try, and I think, I'm not sure who he's going for. My main lines have defeated his, but like I said, he's going to be trying to threaten my light units, which is why I've pulled back some light dragoons to try and cover my guys. He really wants to get rid of my units. Over here, the main lines have confronted each other. I'm going to try and go on intercept, keep him from hitting my light units. And then over here, my cuirassiers are going to cut into his light Delhi horsemen. They are not going to stand a chance. So I'm kind of getting rid of his light cavalry ability, although he's getting rid of my skirmishers. Looks like I'm holding up fairly decently, but like I said, Cairo Janissaries and Janissary Musketeers doing fairly well, surprisingly, against all my units, so he's been able to come up here. He kind of tanked my first couple volleys, and in the ensuing firefight, he's actually going to tear through my guys surprisingly quickly, so I'm bringing up some line infantry reserves. My light dragoons did try and punch through his unit, but they are, man, these guys are resilient. They're still standing strong. I thought I had overwhelming numbers here, but we'll see. My Puckle guns unfortunately have been taken out, so we're going to fight amongst the the Puckle guns and the stakes and all that. So it looks like this additional unit was enough to scare my opponent. Just wanted to get a little epic shot right here. Spanish troops lining up. So now we're going to be in full-on pursuit, and having cavalry obviously is going to be very, very useful for forcing these guys back. So I can harass them while I chase with my line infantry. So that's going pretty well. However, he's going to be beating back my my light dragoons somehow. Over here, he's been able to do actually a lot of success with his Nizam-e-Shadid rifles. I've done no damage to them, so they've been chipping away at my Cazadores, really killing that flank. And so I've been forced to pull back and deal with his Delhi horsemen. But all the while, I still have my Puckle guns firing away. Really love these smoke effects. If this were in real life, you'd wonder if some of the sparks would light this dry terrain and this dry bush on fire. But playing Empire again has me wondering what the next historical Total War game is going to be. Obviously, it's a while off, but I'm very curious which direction they're going to go. They obviously did, Rome 2, Attila, Are they going to continue to go in that, and then they did Age of Charlemagne, are they going to continue to go into the medieval times? Although it seems like that would have some layover with the Empire and Warhammer Fantasy in terms of being kind of a fantasy medieval time. So perhaps they will go the opposite direction, kind of go back to the time of Empire. Be very curious, or perhaps they'll even try and shake things up even more and go to China. So we'll have to wait and see. The exchange is still going somewhat in my favor, but here come those pesky camel gunners. A little scared at them, and I'm a little scared at, you know, I threw a whole line of infantry at his guy. His units are not going down somehow. It's like these pelts and coats that they're wearing are bulletproof. That guy's smiling mischievously, so they know the stat differential or something's going on to have him clobber my guys. The rest of them here are going to charge into straight up combat. Ooh, looks like I'm going to be stabbing a couple of them, so perhaps this exchange will favor me. But camel gunners, Delhi horsemen coming in. I think it looks like we broke those guys. So balance of forces is relatively even. He may have thrown in enough with those reinforcements to pitch it against me, so that's why I'm pulling up more guys. But his overwhelming skirmisher superiority at this point, like I said, he's kind of playing this game of holding back his main lines and just picking apart at my skirmishers. The second he gets rid of my skirmishers, then he can start focusing, you know, piecemeal on my line infantry, and there's nothing I can do. So this is actually starting to be a bit troubling, especially having lost a couple more units on this side than I would have otherwise anticipated, and somehow he still has a lot of his cavalry still alive, whereas mine, I believe I've lost all my cavalry. So all of a sudden, despite having, I believe, gotten the best of most engagements, I am down in terms of the key units, which is not going to be good for me. So now he's going to pull in his general. Figures he needs them for the thick of things. And this is going to be a problem. So my Walloon guards are in here. But like I told you, those camel gunners, they outrange me. And they can continue to get volleys against me. Scoot out, reload, and shoot. So, yep. Look at that extreme range. My guy's out of range. And there you go. He scoots on out of there. Picks up 5 or 6 kills a piece. Every time he does that, he just retreats, and he will be able to whittle this flank away. So that flank is pretty much lost. On this flank here, he's now realized, oh, I could just pull back, and yeah, he's just gonna wait for me to push down against him. I have nothing really holding me together except for this Puckle gun, which is saving my ass. Like I told you before, it does have that little glitch, which kind of makes it continue to shoot at his men despite being technically out of range. So that is one of the few things that's allowing me to continue to keep the pressure on despite having lost the skirmisher and cavalry advantage. So my opponent's going to be trying to recommit. I think we'll fast forward this just because not much is going to be going on. My opponent is now going to be super cautious with the way he does things. Trying to see if I score a couple more kills with those Puckle guns. Yeah, 1 or 2 here or there. So I'm going to try and press down the hill. Line infantry. Oh, got one little volley there, but he's going to pull back. He's got a nice staggered line formation. My guys are going to continue to sweep in, do pressure. And the thing that you have to do when the engagements get down like this is when your opponent pulls back, you can't stop and shoot. You just have to kind of click attack orders and keep pushing on. Otherwise, they'll continue to chase after you. The one problem is when cavalry is in the mix. So his general tried to shoot at me, so I counteracted that. Over on the right, I'm going to 3-2. Chase after him, so I should be able to win this. He's going to continue to pull back. Skirmishers are going to be able to hit my guys who are very tired at this point. His guys are active, so he can out-skirmish me. But again, Puckle guns saving this flank. The camel gunners, however, going to be pretty devastating. If there is a main infantry line charge into his men, and with 73, 60 guys left, boom, that is going to be routed. His skirmishers took almost no damage, and now look at this. They're going to be closing in on this force, getting point blank, and I have almost nothing. Cazadores, they're going to be going down. Now we can pick and choose other units. The Delhi horsemen crashing into my balloon guards and silencing my Puckle guns once and for all, and they're actually going to survive that. So this is getting rather precarious for me. I only have a couple units left, and I lost my Puckle gun, so now is going to be the cue for his Israelis and other units to start closing in. Over here, his camel gunners going to be coming to the rescue. I am forced to realign to try and face his camel gunners, but with their extreme range, they can fire at me, so I'm going to be pulling away. And this is where I'm really scared. He's got 1 unit distracting 3 entire units of mine. And let's see, he's testing the range, and boom, I got a volley. That was really crucial. My opponent had a little lapse in micro, which allowed me to clean his guys up, so now I should be able to kill that. But in the meantime, I don't have too much left. Just 2 units in the back, whereas one of my line infantry here could basically at any time turn and break. So he's trying to throw cavalry into it, he's trying to get other units into the mix, but I do have some militia tying his other units down, suppressing them. So now I'm full on blitz mode. Broke his camels. One of his units is back in the woods, so I'm going to be chasing them down with Walloon Guards. Pretty confident about that. Not so confident about this. Although now it looks like, ooh, broke that guy. Delhi Horseman going to charge straight into square. That is going to be to my advantage. So, whew, I think I actually pulled this one off towards the end. I was a little worried, but the numbers were on my side, and now I can reform. I basically clean up that flank over there, and I can reform and come back to save my line infantry here. And I think they may even be able to hold this off by themselves. This position here, having seen a lot of action the entirety of the game, super important to me. How many do I have? 74 men left. My officer. I always think it's really cool the animations they have for those guys just shooting their pistols. But looks like we're going to be able to hold our own here. Get some last couple shots for you. Ooh, and my Walloon Guards in the distance. Now having reformed and come back. So excellent. Gonna break those guys. My opponent played pretty well. I think at the end he was playing really well, picking me apart. He was way more cost effective at the end than he was at the beginning. So I think if he hadn't been so sloppy with a couple of his units in the beginning, I got some nice cav charges. My Puckle gun placement was pretty spot on. And the way I deflected his cavalry was pretty good. Had he played like he did the second half of this battle, he probably could have beaten me. I guess he's from the MGL clan. So definitely a fun battle. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Let's take a look at the stats here. Walloon Guards, 139. Puckle guns, you can see, not really raking up too many kills. 71 on them, and the other one at 31. So definitely not OP, but they were crucial in holding down different sides of the battlefield and give me a little advantage there. So that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you in the next one. Peace out.